very strong one.
That's a continuous, and it's a continuous effect. It's not discrete, which points to a sphere.
Ooh, that's an interesting point.
And it's one that Flat Earth predicts, right? There are flat earthers who say, "Oh, shouldn't I be flying off? Wouldn't the water fling off this spinning ball?" So you can tell even flat earthers get at a gut level that there should be an outwards force for a rotational motion, and then you can look for it and find it. And where it shouldn't be, you can't find it. It's a falsifiable test that has not yet been falsified. So it's probably true.
Sorry, X.
So in conclusions, I think we have good answers for all three of those. And on the other hand, there's all kinds of problems with the flat Earth that I think have remained unanswered.
Yeah.
Like how flat it is?
No, like how do seasons work? How do moon phases work? Eclipses? Why is the full moon the same size all night long if it's coming towards you than going away from you? Things like that.
Okay,
which would ask, right? Okay. Yeah, exactly. So I would ask, so which way does it go? Does your understanding of Earth being a globe tell you how seasons work? Or does looking at seasons tell you that Earth is a globe?
Yeah, seasons are the observation, and then we're trying to find out the explanation for why they exist. And we have a pretty good explanation, but I'm unaware of a good flat Earth explanation.
It's the sun.
So
between the two tropics at 23.4 degrees north and south of the equator. The ground position of the sun moves throughout the year.
The problem with that is that the sun moves 15 degrees per hour on both solstices, the summer solstice and the winter solstice. And so allegedly the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn would have to be different sizes on the flat Earth. On the globe, it makes sense because they're the same size. They're two circles that are the same size. But since they're concentric circles on a flat Earth, they would have to be different sizes.
So I'd say it would be unfair to actually demand that flat Earth explain certain phenomena when they're not claiming that it has a relationship, or that they're not relying on that phenomena in order to determine the geometry of the surface. So it would be better to address the claims about the geometry of the surface, rather than derivative topics like how does this or that work if the Earth is X.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I brought up the size of the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn in response to the alleged explanation that seasons work because the sun is moving at different distances. So I was saying that explanation is insufficient. So seasons remain unexplained.
Right. I mean, you could have, let's call the flat Earth a hypothesis and the sphere Earth a hypothesis, right? How do you evaluate which one is a better explanation, right?
Say the hypothesis, if you will.
I'm sorry?
What's the hypothesis?
Well, there's two competing hypotheses. I think there's a flat Earth and there's a sphere Earth, right?
Start with the sphere one. What's
Did you test either?
Yeah, what's a sphere Earth hypothesis?
It's regarding the shape of the sphere, or the shape of the Earth to being a sphere.
Yeah, can you say that?
The surface of the Earth is roughly spherical.
Yeah, there you go.
Then what?
That's it. That's the hypothesis.
That's bricked, dude.
That's not a hypothesis. That's not a hypothesis, Mark. Come on.
Yes, it is. We're going to do this, Jedi?
Yeah, that's a statement.
That's a statement about reality, which is falsifiable to hypothesis.
Dude, you have to complete the hypothesis, dude.
No, that's a complete hypothesis. We're going to do this?
What? Yeah.
Okay, all right.
If you want to come across...
Pull out your references. Let's do it.
If you want
I'm going to embarrass you again.
You didn't embarrass me in the first instance. I don't understand why you're coming across aggressive. That is just...
Because we've had this argument before. Okay, you don't know what a hypothesis is.
Why did Newton not say that then? If Newton said he feigns no hypothesis.
First of all, the
You got
definition of hypothesis.
Copernicus. I've
First
got
of all,
nothing.
all right.
If you use this
First-
to come up with a hypothesis about Earth, you're a fool. So
Yeah,
which one is
well-
it? Are you a fool or you've got no hypothesis?
first of all, that quote from Copernicus is not an actual quote.
Yeah,
Although
actual quote. Right in his book.
Provide a reference to that, please. So
Yeah, just look it
anyway,
up.
yeah, look it up. But my point about first and secondly, the scientific method has changed. Most recently, it changed in the 20th century, along with the definition.
It's only the scientific method. There's no.
There is the scientific method. It was revised and established most recently by Karl Popper, right? That is the source of the modern scientific method, starting in the kind of the 30s and 40s in the 20th century, right? So, but the base hypothesis is simply a statement which can be falsifiable about a phenomena that you can observe. That's it.
So a hypothesis is water's wet.
Here's their hypothesis. Go tell Brainy quote that they've got a wrong quote for Copernicus. Start there.
It was Newton who found no hypothesis. It's in the Principia.
Yeah, just do that. Just go into these things and just pull up the hypothesis and let's do it one by one.
I'm posting links to the definition of hypothesis. There you go.
Yeah, colloquially, not.
No, these are definitions in academia.
Now do the word flat. How about that? Let's see if you can keep doing this. Two competing shapes. Dude, you're bricking the word flat and you expect me to believe you're going to get the word hypothesis right?
Okay, I've now posted 4 references. Would you like me to continue?
Great. How are you going to test your hypothesis?
You test the hypothesis by conducting either experiments or observations which can falsify it. That's how you test
observations
hypothesis.
alone. Observations
That
alone
is the
will not
scientific
do
method.
anything. No, observations alone won't do anything.
Yes, they will. They can falsify.
Do you need a hypothesis to determine the shape of something?
You can form a hypothesis about the shape.
You made a statement. You didn't even say anything about not being sure about what it is or not.
The hypothesis should be consistent with your previous observations, right? And then you have to say the hypothesis, and then as long as it can be falsified with further observations, it's a proper hypothesis. In order to establish it as being likely true, you have to do those observations.
Likely true, right? So we're not talking about definitive evidence, right? We're not talking about establishing a definitive absolute conclusion.
T-Dub, I'm having a hard time hearing you. You're muted or muffled.
So because this is going to end up where you're affirming the consequent, but then saying, well, we're not exactly sure. It's just the best guess, right?
Do you have an idea what affirming the consequent is?
Yeah, it's where you will use the observation to confirm your premise.
Yeah, affirming the consequent is a logical fallacy. This is not a logical argument. This is an inductive argument.
Oh, it's inductive. Okay.
All science
I guess that makes it okay then, right?
All science is inductive. That's the nature of it. Sorry.
All science is inductive? Are you sure about that?
I am 100% absolutely sure about that.
You cannot do deductive science. Arguably, you can't
I think
really do deduction in reality.
Didn't you mention something about Karl Popper?
I did mention something about Karl Popper.
What did he say about induction in science?
I don't know what he said. I'm not sure if he had an exact quote about it, but he was very well of skepticism. That's why we have the method we do. He was rooted in Hume. Yeah, and he fought against the lot. Hold on. His main contention was with the logical positivists from the Vienna school who thought they could prove something, and he disputed that and said you can't actually prove anything, but you can establish its falsifiability or its falseness essentially.
Science uses inductive reasonings to formulate a hypothesis and theories, and deductive reasoning when applying them to to specific situations.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, Jedi. What were you saying?
So just reading through this, science uses inductive reasoning to formulate hypotheses and theories, and deductive reasoning when applying them to specific situations. The scientific method can be described as deductive. Cool. Just going through all of these,
It's
just very quick searches.
yeah. So it's they call it basically a hypothetical deductive. Hold on. Let me. Here it is. I got it. Hold on. The full method. I'll post the actual full definition of it here. A good one.
You're a fool. Saw you coming.
I am absolutely a fool. That is absolutely true. That is 100% true. I'm here talking. So the sympathetic, yes. So basically, once you accept, it's one of those things where once you prove the premises, which are proved inductively, the premises establish deductively the truth of the argument, right? But all your observations have to be rooted in induction. That's just unfortunately where we're at with as humans because of our limited knowledge. So that's the hypothetical deductive method. I posted in the side chat, and the reference. You can go back to arguing about the shape. I just didn't want to say that it was not a
Shape.
shape
So
of the
you still
earth.
think flat's a shape, huh?
Well, plane's a shape. I guess flat's a shape. I guess it's sort of a definition.
No, flat is a surface description, dude. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm struggling with it saying it's a shape, but colloquially it is, but
No,
that's why I was saying plane. A plane's more of a shape.
No, flat isn't a shape. It's a description of a surface.
No, I agree with that. That's why I said I wouldn't die on that hill. I'm just saying colloquially people say flat and what they mean is a plane or something like that. Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah, this is boring. Yeah, go back to something else. I'm okay with going on mute.
I've got a couple of things here from media. They're claiming that it says, as mentioned in the section, the problem of induction. His response to the problem of induction is simply that induction is actually never used in science. And then in another his page on problem of induction, Popper, a philosopher of science, sought to solve the problem of induction. He argued that science does not use induction. Induction is in fact a myth.
Ooh, shots fired.
Like the whole world view just shattered on the floor. Like, okay, I'm going on mute. Good idea.
Talk about ouch.
Yeah, I don't think post that
Yeah.
reference because I don't think it means what you think it means.
Uh-oh.
Let's all read through it together.
Yeah, it means you're a complete numbnut, dude. You don't know what science is. You don't know what shapes are. You don't know what hypothesis is.
Quote mining. Yeah, well, we're gonna get the quote mining on this one, I'm sure.
Oh, well done, anti-flat earthers. The new kid has gone. You've done your job. Well done.
I stayed silent.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
You don't have to stay silent, dude. There's no one telling you to be quiet. What the fuck?
Are you coming in low or am I?
Yeah, I got someone over that's like resting.
Oh, you got somebody over. Do you have a lady friend visiting?
Don't kiss and tell.
Little Crit's got a little lady friend. Have fun. I do. I've said it before. I think a good acquittal of the flat Earth would actually be killer on dates. Like admitting to being a flat earther would be an iffy strategy on dates, but if you can
Okay.
really give a good, solid acquittal of why somebody might think the Earth's flat, you're absolutely getting laid that night.
Okay. Would you like to know what does these quotes mean here with regard to the problem of induction?
Yeah, if you could, Mark, if you can help us out with this.
Sure. I'm happy to do this, right? So
Thank
this
you.
is the reason. So this is the whole reason we use falsification, right? Because you can never prove, for example, that there are no black swans or no white swans, right? So black swan, white swan fallacy, whatever. If you only see one type of swan, you can't ever say that their category isn't a second one, right? So this is the problem of induction, right? And his solution to the problem of induction is falsification. He said science should use falsification as its criterion to deal with the problem of induction. He said science should use falsification and not induction, right? Even though the problem is at the root induction. That's the point. In other words, the point, like somebody says, there's no such thing as a white swan. We see a white swan, that's falsified. We know that's not true, right? So we can move on to the next hypothesis. That's the method of falsification. Oh, and I see there's even swans in the image there. Nice.
Are we talking in here?
Diddy part?
We are.
Yeah, move on. This science
We're-
stuff
we're
is
waiting
boring
for
and just
proof.
killing the room.
We're waiting for proof of a spinning watery space ball. Do you
Spinning
think of-
baseball?
No,
do
of
you think you're on a
lava,
spinning-
a water-covered lava ball.
Yeah, gas-covered, water-covered, spinny water
And
ball, do you reckon, Peter?
A spinning baseball?
Water ball.
Yeah,
Lava ball. That's
Lava.
water.
Yeah, lava-filled.
And what is this supposed to prove?
look, we're looking for the evidence of the claim that the Earth is like this.
Coming a bit hot there, Cedar, and you're flailing wildly. You just need to sort of settle yourself down. You'll get into your rhythm in a moment.
Diddy. Diddy party.
So, Cedar, do you reckon you're on a spheroidal Earth?
I don't think he knows.
Are you asking me if the Earth is a sphere?
Yeah.
I think so. But my dad
Well,
told me it was a cube.
What made you think it's a sphere?
Actually, I think it's a cube.
Okay. Have you got any evidence for this cube?
My dad told me.
Okay, has your dad got any evidence for the things that he claims, or does he just tell you stories at night to make you go to sleep?
I think my dad's a little bit retarded.
Okay. So
Cedar, you said you think it's a cube, but that's false. Why are you lying to us?
He's from Bizarro World.
Sorry, I didn't mean to lie. I just, my
Yeah, you
dad
did.
told me.
No, you did it on purpose. You came in here and you said you believe the Earth is a cube, but you don't. Why are you lying? You think it's funny?
Sometimes, Matthew, you really do sound like a teacher.
That was good.
Well, I am.
I feel like I have to stay after class now.
I use the
Sorry.
same tone of voice when spammers call me on the phone, and sometimes I answer. I'm like, "Hello, my name is Sean Williams." And I'm like, "Your name is not Sean Williams." "Oh, yes, it is, sir." And I'm like, "No, it's not. Where are you calling from?" "Oh, from Florida, sir. Florida, Miami." I'm like, "Well, if you were calling from Miami, Florida, you'd say Miami, Florida, not Florida, Miami." I
Yeah.
probably should be kinder to them. They're just working some $2 an hour call center job. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
They call us too.
What did Bill Nye want the generation to know? He's got like one thing.
I've got my hand up, but I know the question is not for me.
You know, Bill
Is that
Bill
no?
Nye's kind of an asshat, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
in
he
real
just
life.
one thing. Yeah, he basically tried to become an astronaut. They told him no atheists allowed. And then he like worked at Disney, and then said that some cartoon character was a portrayal of him. So he tried to sue Disney. They said, "Well, you're fired."
Well, without divulging too much, we hired him years ago. This was a long time ago now, probably 20 years ago, for a corporate gig. The guys I was working with hired him to do a corporate like promo video, believe it or not, and he was just kind of really kind of an asshat on the whole thing. Yeah, it was not good, not a good experience. The video turned out good. He was good on camera, but the whole thing was not good.
Does
He
anybody
tried to.
go on, correct, please?
Okay, yeah,
After
he
you.
tried to dance with the stars. How how that worked out for him?
He doesn't seem very coordinated.
If I still got that. Oh yeah, here the face you make when you dance with the stars.
There's only two things I really remember Bill Nye for. One is the thing that Critter's alluding to. The other one is a demonstration of why things disappear bottom up on a globe. He sticks a boat to a physical globe object, spins the globe object, and says, "Look, you can't see the bottom of the boat because the Earth curve is in the way." I remember that. Is anybody else? No, I'd forget about that too.
According to Snake in the Grass, what percentage of the model is dumb stupid?
What? I didn't even understand that. Who are snakes in the grass? Isn't that what? That's
yeah,
what a bunch of flat
Neil.
earthers call me. I choose to believe it's because I'm friendly and persuasive.
No, like Neil Snake in the Grass Tyson.
Well, Neil Tyson is what you call a play school physicist, whereas Bill Nye is a Sesame Street scientist.
Here you go. here's Tyson explaining how 96% of the visible universe is actually unobservable of the observable universe.
James Richards having some trouble in the chat here. Let's see if other people agree with him. As far as I can tell, he can speak up if I misrepresent his position, that if you're setting a telescope to track a star, if the telescope has to change its orientation through the day, that means the star is moving and not the ground. And if the ground were moving, you would set the telescope to look at a star and it wouldn't need to move to keep tracking that star. So he's saying a turning Earth within stationary stars would be optically observably different to a stationary planet with revolving stars. What do people think about
Makes sense.
James's?
Well, if you're on a train and you're looking at a mountain in the distance, the mountain doesn't change its position. You don't
Yes,
have
it
to
does.
reorient your head every few seconds.
Yeah, you do. As you need to move your head, like if the train's going to your left and you're looking, like let's say you're looking at a right side window, so the train is heading leftwards from your perspective, that mountain will move to the right at the same rate as if you were stood on that mountain watching the train. You would have to move your head to the right to track the train. Both would be equivalent. This is like really simple stuff that if you're ever going to say that Einstein quote of I've come to the conclusion that no optical experiment could prove that the Earth orbits the sun, that's what he's talking about. What he's saying is optically a revolving Earth looks the same as a stationary Earth with revolving stars.
Yeah, that was the point Matthew was making, that the geocentric Earth is really tough to tell from a non-geocentric
It's got a
Earth.
strong case. The geocentric Earth has a strong case provided you make it spherical and you still have the stars orbiting around the correct north-south axis. Then it's a very tough to disprove model. But the idea that James is trying to present here, where one would be observably different because the telescope would or wouldn't have to track, is just to me it strikes, maybe I've just been in this debate now for 3 years, so it seems obvious, but it's like, imagine, the way I put it is, imagine a car's driving past you, right? And you're standing on the road and there's a driver in the car and you want to both lock eyes and stay locked in eye contact. Who has to move their head? And the obvious answer is both people do. Either would require a rotation in an equal and opposite direction.
Okay, so that's a bit of a red herring then.
No, because James is still saying it in the chat that the fact that equatorial mounts exist to track stars proves that the stars are moving in the Earth stationary. So it's, and you agreed with it. It sounded like.
Well, it just sounded reasonable to me. That's all.
That's what
I didn't really think about it very deeply. I just tried to picture sitting on a train and looking at a mountain because it's something I've done a lot.
The problem is, if you imagine a train, you can feel, if you imagine yourself in that situation, you feel it moving. And the other thing that you have is you have perspective between you and the ground. Like, you can see the ground moving differentially between you and the mountains off in the distance. That gives you an idea that you're moving and not the mountains because of parallax. But you don't have that with stars.
Right.
Yeah, so there's nothing else. There's no observable Coriolis effect with anything else other than the stars.
What?
Something in the
Coriolis
planet.
doesn't affect the stars, does it? I haven't heard that one.
That's we only see Coriolis effect supposedly in the stars, things in the sky.
No.
That's
Explain
it.
what
So we
you
don't
mean.
see any other We don't see any other Coriolis effects. There's no other evidence that Earth is moving apart from stars.
Sorry to
Where's
say,
the Coriolis you see in the stars?
I'm confused.
Yeah,
Does that
I
mean?
think you might.
Does that mean?
Which would indicate.
Sorry, I'm asking a question. Do apologise if I'm coming in low. Does that mean that the stars are actually going straight, but us, the observer, because of the Coriolis, and we're standing on a rotating reference frame, appear to see an apparent deflection of the stars? That's what the Coriolis effect is. The path is actually straight, but because we're on a rotating reference frame, they appear to move.
Well, I just don't get Coriolis at all for the stars. Like the Coriolis affect moving masses on a rotating body, and the stars might like.
That's your claim, though. Your claim is that stars are stationary and Earth is rotating under the stars. So the stars appear to apparently deviate, right?
Sure, but that's not Coriolis, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing with the rest of what you're saying, but I think you're just misusing.
So you just don't know what you say. You don't understand what Coriolis effect is. Then is what you're saying.
Well, maybe
Because you're claiming a Coriolis effect in that Earth's rotating underneath the stationary stars, correct?
No, that's not what I mean when I say Coriolis effect.
Well, that's what Coriolis effect is. This is the claim of the globe.
If that's what Coriolis effect is, then I'm very wrong about what Coriolis effect is.
Yeah, you usually are. Yeah, you usually are. But so we don't see any other Coriolis effect affecting planes, drones, helicopters. Nothing. We don't see any other, which would be an argument for only the stars moving and not the Earth.
So we do see it in other things. I mean, the mechanical gyro compass.
No, we don't.
Well, how does the mechanical gyro compass work then?
A mechanical gyro compass?
Yeah, it's a spinning mass that can.
Right. So what Earth spins under the gyro? Does it?
That's gonna. Yeah. Right. So it's Coriolis again. So I just want to say quickly, technically, because there's two reference frames, and one is in which it is not accelerating, right? And things that are motionless or on a course will maintain that course unless acted upon by another force. So you could have things within the inertial reference frame which aren't going necessarily straight or which are motionless, and they will still appear to have take a particular path. They'll have a deflection of sorts because of the consequence of you being on a turning reference frame. Yes, stars technically is because, like, from the globe perspective, spinning ball perspective, is because of it is a Coriolis effect.
Well, the definition of
Coriolis is that it's
I think
so is your gyro. So is your gyro as well.
The gyro is affected. So a mechanical gyro compass uses the Coriolis effect to identify the axis north-south, so it can tell you what perfect north-south is, even if it's underground or subjected to adverse magnetic fields or anywhere. But the Coriolis effect, would any of the other globers say that the Coriolis effect explains or has anything to do with stars? I'm not following that bit.
Okay, so it might if we thought that, hold on.
Nothing.
It might if we claimed that the stars were actually moving and rotating and we were rotating, there would be an offset in the apparent direction and not just the because they're not moving. The Coriolis effect is not applicable. It's just they're just simple movement from the Earth rotation. You'd have to have them moving too, and we don't. That's not a thing.
So just as clearly as possible, Coriolis is an inertial force. You have to be on that thing in order to have the force transferred to you. So it has nothing to do with stars because stars aren't attached to the Earth in any way.
Well, it's not actually an inertial force. It's an apparent force. It's not a real thing. It's
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's the same thing. So it's the same thing. It deals with the inertia of an object relative to another object. So there has to be an attachment. There has to be that thing is either rotating, starting off on that thing, or it is rotating directly over that thing. But the stars don't have any relationship with the Earth other than they exist and the Earth is rotating. Just
Yeah, that's the
there's
most
no
typical
relationship to
use.
transfer that.
I was trying to be as expansive as possible, but yeah, so that's typical explanation.
So if the stars appear to move because Earth is moving, then there should be other things appearing to move because Earth is moving, like planes, drones, that sort of thing, which we don't see.
Yeah,
Which would
I think
indicate that
still
it's the
got it wrong.
stars that are moving. So it's the stars that are moving, not Earth. You could just as easily argue. Well, you could even more convincingly argue because there's no Coriolis effect. We don't see it anywhere, only in stars, apparently.
It's not in stars.
So your concept of Coriolis and Earth spinning is not consistent right through your model.
I don't think you've heard what everybody's just said to you.
Is it?
It sounds a bit like you've missed what people have just said to you.
No, you've missed it. You don't even know what Coriolis effect is, so it's just going straight over your head.
Maybe. I think it relates to masses as they change a radius of rotation will have an apparent deviation. It's a pseudo force that is dependent upon a frame of reference that you happen to choose to look at it from, and there is no mass in the light of stars. So Coriolis doesn't change how we see stars.
Yes, it does. It creates apparent deviation. That's what it is. So if you're on a merry-go-round or a roundabout and someone's throwing a ball over your head, it will appear to deviate, even though it's going in a straight path.
Because the ball's a mass.
That's a Coriolis effect.
But where's
Same
the
if you
ball
launch a
when looking
drone.
at stars?
Same if you... Just explain what the Coriolis effect is. So you see a deviation, apparent deviation. Same if it's a static drone. If you launch a drone from a roundabout and you let it hover, as you go around on the roundabout, it's going to appear to deviate, right? Even though it's stationary.
Because it's a mass. Yep. That's not Coriolis.
That's not
Coriolis.
Coriolis.
We don't see that anywhere.
Yeah, you're getting it wrong.
That's
I'm sorry,
perspective.
mate.
We don't see the Earth. There's no evidence of the Earth rotating underneath anything in the inertial reference frame.
I just posted a link to a bullet drop.
It's usually walk over your head. Usually, you guys don't have no idea what Coriolis effect is. You think it's water going down the sink the opposite
You're
way.
wrong about it, and you're just not refusing to accept that you're wrong about it.
No, you
No wonder you think
haven't been able to
everybody
explain
else.
it.
Gaslighting him now. No, he's not wrong about
You
it.
haven't been able to explain it at all.
Well, he is, because the drone thing isn't Coriolis. It's just flat out isn't. There's no apparent
That is
inertial force
Coriolis.
change. It's just the drone is sitting there and you're going round and round in a circle looking at the drone. So the angle to you looking at the drone changes. That's perspective, not Coriolis.
So you appear, so the drone appears to deviate as you're turning beneath it, yeah?
But not every apparent deviation is
Yeah,
therefore Coriolis.
perspective.
Because Coriolis
Right,
is
so it's
described as
Coriolis,
apparent
it's Coriolis
deviation.
effect.
But that you're
That's
just
Coriolis
you're just doing
apparent
a
deviation.
I forget what fallacy this is, but yes, Coriolis
It's not a
causes
fallacy.
apparent deviation in the path of something. That doesn't mean every apparent deviation is therefore Coriolis effect.
That's
where
your
where
claim.
broken logic is.
No, it's when you're both on a merry-go-round, you throw a ball in the air and it appears to deviate to a left or right according
Yes.
to a different frame of reference. You need
Correct.
two
That
frame
is
of reference for Coriolis, right? Has nothing to do with masses, inertial forces. It's only an apparent deviation.
Of
So if
mass
you
in motion.
no, because you're throwing it straight.
Does it require motion? Yes or no?
One frame reference as from two separate frame of reference.
Does it require motion? Direct question. Please give it an answer, or run
I said
away admitting you
one frame of reference requires
yes
it to
or
be
no?
in motion.
Is it required to move?
Are you going
It's
to
a
re-ask the
rotating
same question?
Earth.
Not
I
accepted.
would like an
Rotating
answer.
reference.
I'd like a direct answer to the very
Did you?
simple, direct question.
Well, I answered it, and for some reason you keep asking it. It said one frame of reference is in motion.
Right, so it requires motion. Does it require mass? Can you have a
Not for
massless
the
thing?
apparent force. No.
Excellent. So it involves moving masses. Well
It's a-
done. Where is the moving mass when we're looking at starlight? Thank you.
You're
QED.
supposed to be the moving mass. The Earth is supposed to be the moving mass. Did you not know that?
So
Did you
in
not
all
know that the Earth is the mass
moving, what
and
is
the Earth is
also
moving?
required? Yeah, you're not answering anything, right? The Earth is moving in all of the cases, and the mass is moving independent to the Earth. So there's 2 bits of motion required. Going down to 1 bit of motion and still expecting to see Coriolis is why you guys are flat earthers. Your thinking is broken.
You believe that there's one
so
mass
obviously
that's
wrong.
moving.
2
You just said that requires a moving mass, and I just gave you the moving mass. There are
on a
2
moving
reference frames.
moving body. Moving
Right,
mass and a
is
moving body.
a moving mass and moving body. Is the Earth in the heliocentric not a moving mass? It's not rotating?
It's a moving body, sure, it's a moving mass. So
Okay,
you
then
do.
that's
Now, where's your second
Coriolis.
one?
There, that's Coriolis.
Where's your second moving mass?
You don't need 2 moving masses.
Okay, show me an example of somebody citing Coriolis where there aren't 2 moving masses, both the body that it's on and the object that is said to be deviating in its path. Go for it. You won't be able to
2
find it.
moving masses.
Definitionally, that's what Coriolis is. It's something that should be going in a geodesic, right? Going straight, but its geodesic path is described, if you're on that rotating body, as if its path is its path, i.e. because it's still moving, both things are moving independent of one another, but one appears to be bent from a certain frame of reference.
Yeah, objects that are
2
floating
moving,
like
so 2
like
moving
the
things, right?
drone.
A body
He
and a
gave
moving
you
mass.
he gave you the 2 things. The drone.
The drone he had in one example was moving, and whenever it's moving, I keep going, yes, that is Coriolis. And then when he goes, okay, a stationary drone, but you're driving around a roundabout, it's apparent deviation, that is not Coriolis. That is just perspective, changing the position of something.
Right.
Just
So
because something changes its apparent position doesn't mean it's Coriolis.
So it's not. So we don't experience Coriolis.
If that's what you took from what I said, then thank you for demonstrating how to flat Earth.
How to flat Earth? I'm just repeating exactly.
Deliberately misunderstand.
You're
what people are
literally
saying in the hope
trying
that
to
that
talk
makes you
over me
look
when I'm
right.
trying to talk. When I'm trying to respond to what you're saying, you just talk over me. He just gave you the example of a drone hovering, and you're supposed to have 2 moving masses.
Yep.
The
So
Earth
hovering, what
and
does
the
hovering
drone
mean?
that is not attached to the Earth.
Sure. And what does hovering mean?
So we don't experience Coriolis.
What does hovering mean? Does hovering mean fixed in relation to the body of the Earth, or moving in relation to the body of the Earth?
Hovering, that means it's not attached. It's hovering over something.
I didn't ask that. Please answer the direct question.
You just
I'm
asked me what
asking.
hovering was. You just asked me what hovering was, and you don't like to accept answers.
Moving or not
hovering.
moving
When
with
something is
relation to
hovering,
the Earth?
right. So the Earth isn't moving to relation. They're both 2 separate reference.
But they're not moving independently of one another, are they? They're staying
Yes,
fixed.
they are moving independent. The drone is flying independent of the Earth reference frame. That's why you can
That's
see
not
it
what
move.
I'm asking.
Of course, that's not what you're asking. That is what Coriolis is
I agree with
saying
you.
to
I agree
be.
with you. It is
So
independent of the Earth in that moment. But what it
So
is
we
doing,
don't experience Coriolis effect.
yeah, if the mass isn't in motion, sure, that's the point I'm making. So the
Okay,
mass
so that
isn't in
is the
motion.
Earth, not in motion, not experience Coriolis effect.
What
Thank
it really
you
has
for
to do-
proving the point.
What it really has to do for Coriolis is change the radius. It's generally about a rotating mass, a rotating body, and a geodesic on that. And it just needs to change the radius. So you would get, if the drone was hovering but shot up in the air, that would change it. That would induce a Coriolis-like force. Just the same as if it went north, south, or east. North or south. And degrees, it was going north or south, just not east or west. If it was going due east or due west, then it would not be in an apparently curved path, and Coriolis wouldn't be affecting it.
And none of that actually happens and occurs. None of that. Not in trajectory, not in missile, not in missile. Nothing has that Coriolis effect where you have 2 reference frames where you have to account for the moving mass of the Earth.
Well, that's how
not experienced.
That's how mechanical gyro compasses work. They can find due north.
No,
Yeah, I
they
just
don't.
posted videos. I just posted a video of a long range shooter demonstrating it, so you can look at that too.
His one, I think, though, isn't that one actually the Eötvös effect of him? Isn't he shooting east-west?
He shoots in all directions.
Oh, right.
He shoots in all four.
Yeah,
all four
if you do use the
trajectories.
Coriolis effect, you can detect the Coriolis effect with a mechanical gyro compass and use that to discern where true north is. So if it's not a real effect, why is it detectable? How is a not real effect detectable?
Dude, a compass has got nothing to do with rotation. Are you serious?
Mechanical gyro.
Yeah, because it has a
Absolutely.
compass on it. Because it has a compass on it.
Mechanical
So
gyro
compass just points north, got nothing to do with rotating Earth. It just has it.
Mechanical gyro compass does, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it has a
That's how
compass on it.
works. Go to the wiki page of it, and like the third word.
So a mechanical gyro.
Due to the rotation of the Earth.
No, it's because it's pointing to Polaris. I mean, it's pointing not Polaris. It's pointing to the north with a compass.
Yeah, but normally compass means a magnetic compass. This is not magnetic. This is using the physical force of the rotating Earth to find the axis of due north-south, not with magnetic declination. It's finding perfect north-south. How does it do that? Magical, right? Magical device.
They got it rotating under a gyro. Right.
That's the way you want to put it. But yeah, it's a
Yeah, but nothing
mass.
else.
It's a spinning mass, and what it wants.
Yeah, but nothing else though.
So you want to go away from this bit of evidence we do have to talk about other evidence that I haven't presented yet?
Not.
Look, I'd run away from the mechanical gyro compass too.
No, it's not a mechanical.
Pretty strong bit of
So
evidence.
did somebody posted something? Because I don't see anything in the chat.
Oh, you want me to? Sure.
You mentioned you posted something on Wiki, said that it's talking about a mechanical gyro compass.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll post something for you. Here you go. It's if you ever see IB Hunter, he doesn't usually come into this room much because he doesn't like a argument, but he has a bunch of these in his garage, and if you talk nicely to him, he'll take them out. He'll take you on the back and show how they work. But it's just, if you see that thing in the picture of it, I've just posted in the chat, that's a spinning mass, and that axis through which it is trying to, or sort of there is the least torque on the device if that axis is aligned north-south. And it's finding, as I keep saying, geographic north-south, not magnetic north-south. So it's a pretty strong bit of evidence that if the Earth's rotating, we should be able to detect that physically because it's a physical rotation. So a sufficiently fast enough spinning mass will be able to detect a increasingly small rotational force. And once you do that, you can compare it to the vector of down, essentially sort of keeping the compass flat, and then it will want to align that rotation axis with north-south. It'll sort of be wandering around trying to find that point and then stay locked on it.
Okay, so you have Earth moving, rotating 1,000 miles an hour underneath the stationary gyroscope, correct?
What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense to me. Can you say that again in a different way?
No, that's your argument. I'm just confirming your argument back to you.
It just sounded.
You're saying it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the way you said it sounded very strange to me.
So you're saying Earth is rotating. So you're saying Earth is rotating 1,000 miles an hour. Can I just repeat my question?
Go for it.
Yeah, if it's rotating 1,000 miles an hour underneath the stationary gyro, that's your claim, yeah?
No, that sounds very strange.
Okay, that's your claim though.
A gyro, but it's not.
I'm just repeating your claim back to you, and you're saying, "Gee, that's very strange."
That's what I'm telling you. You're going, so you're saying X, and then I'm like, no, and you're like, yeah, you are. I think I would be the only person here qualified to tell you what it is that I'm saying.
Are you claiming that there's a 15-degree deviation from Earth rotating underneath a stationary gyro? Is that right?
No. So if
you're not saying that.
These devices, if you're looking at one of these devices, you're probably on a merchant vessel, which is probably at max going to be traveling like 5 to 10 knots, maybe 20 knots, right? So it's going pretty much the same speed as the Earth. But what it's also doing is detecting a rotation of the Earth around its axis. So it's pretty much in lockstep. It's pretty much spinning around with the Earth, and it's able to detect that rotation. And so that 0.000694 RPM with a sufficiently fast spinning mass will be able to go, oh, hang on, I can detect the axis that rotation's on. And then I can align that, the least torque will be applied to this system when my axis is aligned with that, because both then the axes of both spinning bodies are aligned. And then if I just paint an N at the top and an S at the bottom of a plate that shows that, now I've got a really, really accurate compass. And that works only because the Earth is turning. So if you said that we've got no way to detect it, you need to deal with the fact that every merchant vessel in the world that I know of, or vast number of them, have a mechanical gyro compass on board for exactly this purpose that works through the rotation of the Earth.
It has nothing to do with the rotation of the Earth.
Okay.
So you said the boat going about the same speed as the Earth?
Yeah, I can read to you. I can read to you where
gyro
the part that
is a
you
non-magnetic compass which is based upon a fast spinning disk and the rotation of the Earth to find geographical direction automatically.
Yeah, but that's not actually working. Look, this friction force is caused by the fluid. See, it's immersed in a viscous fluid that the fluid will resist reorientation of its axis.
Sure.
That's where the force is coming from. It's immersed in fluid. There's nothing to do with reorientation. Because that says the friction force caused by the fluid results in a torque action on the axis, causing the axis to turn in a direction orthogonal to the torque along the lines of longitude. Once the axis points towards a celestial pole, it will appear to be stationary and won't experience any more friction force. It's because it's true north.
The liquid's doing that, right?
That's what it said.
Some use liquid, some don't, by the way. But why would the liquid nowhere north?
No, it says here that gyro compass it's not a gyro compass is not completely free to reorient itself.
Yeah, you've got to keep
so it's horizontal. Right. So it's a device. You can claim that it has to do with the rotation of the Earth, but the way that it operates has to do with how you set it. It says so here in your own reference. This friction force caused by the fluid results in a torque action on the axis, causing the axis to turn in a direction orthogonal to the torque that is to precess along a line of longitude.
So you're getting this from the wiki I posted, and you're choosing to say it is not based upon the rotation of Earth, despite the fact that you're taking that from a page that says that it is based on the rotation of Earth. Have I got that right?
Amazing that wiki can actually have false information.
But you're taking the information from wiki. That's my point. You're saying, hey, I've found on wiki the article that says it's based on a rotating Earth.
Right. Refutes refutes the thing that you're saying.
On a rotating Earth.
Hold on. What's the
logic I've ever heard?
Right.
What's the point of the water? What's the point of the water in the compass?
What's the point of the fluid? Yeah, just ask him. What's the point of the fluid?
Yes. What is the point of the fluid?
So the point of the fluid was, or it still is in some of them, to create a vector of down, but also to dull movement. So you want the vector of down. Now, many of them just use a weight for this. But the idea is you want to keep the reading plate flat on it, and you're trying to get a right angle between, or close to a right angle, it's going to depend on latitude, between the vector of down and...
it's chiefly just to dampen the oscillations.
Yeah,
that's it.
And water will dampen the oscillations better, but now they have little sensors and motors and stuff that do that a lot quicker, because the old ones, you apparently had to spin up hours before you needed them. Because they would hunt around a lot trying to find north, like they just sort of waggle back and forth past it. And the new ones, you can start them up with a much simpler startup process, and they don't use liquid. So his entire claim from the page that says it uses the rotation of the Earth, that it doesn't use the rotation of the Earth because it uses liquid, lacks the fact of how does liquid know where north is, and the fact that half of them don't use liquid.
No, that's actually reading what it says here, and it's refuting what you're saying. It says once the axis points towards the celestial pole, that's actually how they set it. It will appear to be stationary and won't experience any more frictional forces.
That's right. Yeah, it's torque.
Right. So they set it pointing a direction because they wanted to always point to this direction.
Yeah, they wanted to align with the axis of north-south. So nothing you've said has really debunked that.
No. He said that they orient it manually. That's not true.
That's not true. That's
what it says here.
Well, it's wrong. There is a thing
Wait,
called.
hold on. What reference are you using?
Heading indicator. There is a thing
He
called
got wiki.
heading indicator, which is a gyroscopic heading indicator. Is a very similar idea. You spin it up and you point it in a direction, and it will stay locked in whatever direction you point it. But that is sometimes erroneously called a mechanical gyro compass, but that's wrong. It is not a mechanical gyro compass. It is a gyroscopic heading indicator. The gyroscopic compass will find north-south without any input.
No, it says here in the modern ships, the GPS or other navigational aids feed data to the gyro compass, allowing a small computer to apply corrections.
Sure. Yeah, you can speed up.
Okay, so that's the modern way that they do it.
You can speed up the lock by already pointing it north, but the thing I just said is still true. If you do not do that, if you switched it on in the middle of the ocean, having no idea which way north was, it would take a slightly longer spin up time, but it would still find the axis north-south.
It's funny because I try to go to the article or some reference that Wiki does, and it gives you an error. So this Wiki reference doesn't give you any actual.
There's plenty you can read up. They've been around since like World War One, so they're not. There's not.
So this Wiki reference doesn't have anything backing it up.
It doesn't have anything backing it up.
Right.
Find it elsewhere then. There's loads of them about. You can buy one of these yourself if you want to. They're not. That's what I'm saying. It's been around since World War One. You don't need to just rely on a wiki. The moment you find a dead link and you go, well, thank goodness
provided this. You provided this, and it's funny. It's like you don't have to only provide my citation that proves rotation of Earth, and then when it goes to actually finding out how it works, it doesn't reference any rotation,
except in the very first sentence.
No, that's a claim that it makes, and that's Wiki. So it can make any claims.
Sentence, or
no, that's a claim. That's a claim it operates. But when you go to the actual operation, it uses some liquid where you have to set it to a certain axis. It sounds exactly like how you would set. Sorry, but sounds exactly how you would set a.
Please quote that from the Wiki and post it.
Yeah, because
what do you mean quote it? It's the same quotation that it's his own reference.
But it just saying it uses liquid doesn't mean anything, right? It's clearly got many parts. Labeling one of those parts in an article that starts saying it's based on the rotation of the Earth doesn't change that it's based upon the rotation of the Earth. It's just describing the mechanics of how it detects the rotation of the Earth. So saying it's got liquid in it doesn't do anything to that.
I didn't say it does. Your reference does. So I don't understand why you're trying to subscribe that to what I'm saying.
Well, I can't understand what you're saying, in honesty. What makes you think that anything to do with that liquid in it debunks or rejects the very first sentence in the article that's contained within?
Well, the first sentence is an article that Wiki is making, and then I will try to find a reference link, and it doesn't have any references on this. And I just read to you what it said.
Okay. So let's find Puget Sound Instruments.
And then you said that they don't use this anymore. Sorry, you said that they don't use these gyro compass anymore because now they rely on GPS and computer navigation.
No, I didn't say that.
No, it says that.
Well, they're wrong. You can.
Okay, so your reference is wrong.
I don't think
what
they said
it
that.
says.
Where did it say that? Give the quote that it says they don't use these anymore.
You can open it up. It's right under operation. How it operates.
Okay, sure. I think what you're talking about is how they speed up the operation of it. It's right under operation.
No, you can go to errors. The gyro compass it's an article right there. I mean, it's a section that says errors. A gyro compass is subject to certain errors. These include steaming errors, which rapid changes of course of latitude causes deviation before the gyro can adjust itself. On most modern ships, the GPS or other navigation aids feeds data to a gyro compass, allowing a small computer to apply correction. I don't understand how you believe that this would be proving of a rotating Earth when you go through the operations, because it claims to.
Yeah, because every article about it. So here's one from Britannica I've just posted. Sorry, Mark G's already posted exactly the same one. Puget Sound Instrument, who make these things, describe a gyro compass as similar to a gyroscope. It is a compass that finds true north by using an electrically powered fast spinning wheel and friction forces in order to exploit the rotation of Earth. Here's what you could do. Can you find me anything suggesting how it finds north that doesn't reference the rotation of Earth? A single quote saying it uses magnetic fields, or it can see the stars, or whatever you think it's doing to find due north-south. Can you
Okay,
explain how it does that and show a link to support it?
No, so this is a reversal of burden of proof. I read you the reference that you're going to. So if you want me to look up and debunk your proof, I would have to get you another quote from a reference point.
But the quote needs to say that it doesn't use the rotation of Earth, not that it uses oil, or somebody used it on a Thursday, or some of them are made out of partially brass.
So you don't like the fact that I read out how it operates. It's operation.
Sure. You read out how it operates using the rotation of Earth. I'm asking you if you can find something that says it doesn't use the rotation of Earth.
Okay, so you want to prove the negative.
Hey, I'm bored of all the debate semantics, so I'm just going to ask Mark, or not ask, I'm going to say Mark. So in practical shooting, nobody uses Coriolis. That's lame.
Jesus.
Except in this device that we're talking about.
You guys are talking about debate semantics and evidence. You guys got to just figure some shit out.
I know that I can't take no more.
No, Peter's back.
Coriolis to find.
It ain't no lie.
Coriolis is, you guys.
A man showed you a
No one
device
uses that. It's not practical.
that specifically does not use
especially in shooting.
any other mechanisms that you claim are useful for identifying north and south. He specifically showed you a mechanical device that's been in use for like over 100 years, prior to GPS, prior to computers, that detects north and south without referencing stars or magnetic fields. He provided a citation claiming that, and he said, what other mechanism could be used to find north and south other than magnetism and stars? And that question remained unanswered, and now you're talking about shooting like an idiot.
Well, I mean, because, like, can we just rewind it? Could somebody sum up what are you even talking about? Gyro compass? Can you explain what a gyro compass is instead of arguing?
He did.
About?
The man did.
I mean, I wasn't here, I guess.
Sure.
And shut up.
Mass to
The Earth is a donut.
Great. So it uses a spinning mass, and same as any gyroscope can do to detect rotation, this one instead applies a torque to it with the vector of down in order to detect the rotation of Earth. And it will have the least torque on it when its spinning axis, that's north-south axis, is aligned with the north-south axis of Earth. It'll sort of process and hunt for that point and then stay locked to that point of pointing due north. It does this in every reference by a spinning mass and the rotation of the Earth. I've provided multiple citations that every one, the very first paragraph or the very first sentence says it finds this by the rotation of Earth. And we've got an argument here that because some of them use oil as a mechanism to dull the oscillations, therefore it doesn't operate by the way that every article that we've found says it does.
That's not what your reference said. I literally read it.
Yeah, you read
how it says
and then use
and how it operates. And you were saying that it's using, and you're claiming something that's not in your reference. But I'm not reading your Britannica one.
You're cherry picking from the reference, ignoring the first paragraph to jump a few down to something that doesn't even debunk it.
I went to the operation, how it operates.
Yeah.
Yes, and you invoked a red herring about GPS. How did GPS work 100 years ago?
No, that's not a red herring. I read his citation when he mentioned that they don't use this anymore. They use something more modern.
Because why would you use that? You would use it as backup. Okay, here's what he means. Let's give him the benefit.
You're jumping into the conversation
wait.
and you're trying to reframe it. That's not what happened, Peter.
Well, because you're
it's not a red herring.
You're
it's not a red
misrepresenting the
herring.
evidence.
No,
Yes,
it's
you
not
are.
a red herring. When he provides the reference, it's not a red herring when he provides the reference and says, and then we're talking about how they operate.
Sure. So did they operate? The man claimed.
Exactly.
The man claimed the gyro.
It's not a red herring. Thank you for conceding the point.
The man claimed that the gyro compass has been in use since World War I, and GPS did not exist. So you invoking GPS.
I did invoke GPS.
If you provided
you did not hear the. you're rinsing and repeating. You didn't hear anything that I
You
said.
said they use GPS for corrections.
No, I did not.
You literally read that.
No, I
Like
read
5 minutes
out
ago.
what the modern way of doing it, of operation, the modern operation. You didn't understand that, right? You didn't
The
understand that?
modern operation of a vehicle that uses GPS and the gyro compass.
Yeah.
There are
Okay,
also modern
so that's
vehicles
not
that
a
don't
red
use
herring.
GPS,
That's not a
but
red
use gyro
herring.
compass.
Right, so I read out the operations of the gyro compass, not the one that has the GPS on it.
Sure. Yeah. There's
Okay.
other things will feed into it. I didn't say it's not used anymore, though. You keep repeating that.
I didn't say it wasn't used either. You guys are just fighting with your own references. That's the main problem here.
You're
So
cherry-picking
restate your claim.
the article
What's your
that
problem?
starts with saying it is based on the rotation of the Earth, and your conclusion is that because it uses some mechanism,
That's called that's just a.
Are you just
I
interrupting?
read the operations, and that is the problem that
You
you're
got it
having
wrong.
with. I got
Fine,
the
okay. So then answer the question. So the question's on the table. You've debunked me. We'll accept that now. You, by finding that it uses oil and sometimes is fed corrections from GPS, we're now going to accept that it doesn't use the rotation of Earth. You, me, Peter, all of us are on the same page. You've debunked it. Well done. Now,
No, that's called a straw man.
How? No, I'm just saying I'm granting it for the point of conversation.
No, you're granting it because you don't want. Now you want to reverse the burden of proof.
Okay,
just because
you've debunked him. You've debunked
you're trying to. You're doing this just for the sake of argument, and you guys do not want to defend your own position.
How do you think it finds due north-south? How does it do that?
I read out what it says. Okay, I read out how it says it. 1 second. Let's see.
Okay. Specifically the north-south finding, not dulling oscillations or corrections. We want this is how it detects it. Just any article from anywhere. I've posted ones from, there you go, Mark's posted another one. I posted ones from Encyclopedia Britannica. I've posted ones from manufacturers of the things. They all say they use the rotation of the Earth. I just need an
operation.
idea.
A gyro compass is not to be confused with a gyroscope is not to be confused with a gyro compass. Okay, I'm talking about the operation here. It says the law of conservation of angular momentum, such as a wheel, will normally maintain its original orientation to a fixed point in outer space.
Yep, bingo. Good.
Okay.
Carry on. No disagreement so
So
far.
since the Earth rotates, it appears to be stationary observer on the Earth that a gyroscope's axis is completely a full rotation once every 24 hours.
Interesting.
Okay, so and I told you, and here, a note, although the effect is not visible in a specific case when a gyro's compass axis is precisely parallel to the Earth's rotational axis.
Bingo. As I've been saying, right?
You've been saying that? You haven't been saying that.
Oh, he omitted one. Did he read this part? The crucial additional ingredient needed to turn a gyroscope into a gyro compass, so it would automatically position to true north, is some mechanism that results in an application of torque whenever the compass's axis is not pointing north.
Yeah. So if it's compared to the vector of down, then that north-south axis on which the weight's spinning, basically the axle that it's on, will be applying. It'll have to be pointing at some compass direction, right? It's going to be horizontal, but pointing at some compass direction, and it'll have a torque being I don't want to be this way. I'm going to want to either precess left or right, depending on which way I'm out. And that precession, that torque will be zero when it's at north. So it sort of wanders past north, and then the torque lets up, and it comes back and forth and back and forth, and just the same as you read out so wonderfully, Amir.
Yeah, it works exactly like a celestial mount. Yeah. It works exactly like a celestial mount.
No, it's very different to a celestial mount.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it's describing.
One more paragraph, if I may. Once the axis points toward the celestial pole, it will appear to be stationary and won't experience any more frictional forces. This is because true north, or true south for our Aussies out there, is the only direction for which the gyroscope can remain on the surface of the Earth and not be required to change. This axis orientation is considered to be a point of minimum potential energy.
Bingo. That's why you have to apply a correction of latitude, because that's going to be fine and horizontal at the equator, but get closer and closer to vertical as you get to the poles.
Oh, and one final one, sorry. Since the gyrocompass's north-seeking function depends on the rotation around the axis of the Earth that causes torque-induced gyroscopic precession, it will not orient itself correctly to true north if it is moved very fast in an east to west direction, thus negating the Earth's rotation. However, aircraft commonly use heading indicators or directional gyros, which are not gyro compasses and do not align themselves to north via precession, but are periodically aligned manually to magnetic north.
That sounds like that's right, yeah.
And there are sources, there are links to sources here. Oh my god, Wikipedia.
No, this article doesn't. They're all not working.
They're all not. All of them aren't working. That's interesting. Let me click on one.
Which one here? The one in the operation.
They're all not working. I'm going with that. Page not found. Right, you are.
Thank you.
Hang on. Let's just say it's redirecting to Weems and Plath, and no, the link is working. Yeah, it's good, but it's not actually a link to whatever article that was to. So that one needs to be cleaned up. But like I said, you can find other sources. Like, these things have been around for 100 years. There is designs of them. There's I posted one of the designs that's just on the wiki page, but you can find them elsewhere. You can buy them secondhand. They
Actually, there's a whole book about how they operate linked in Wikipedia. The Anschutz Gyro Compass and Gyroscope Engineering. Every flat earther should buy that book.
It's one of the best tests because it's physical, right? So we don't need to go, oh, what about bendy light and ether and stuff like that? It's something you can touch and hold yourself, and it works on forces that just make sense in your head, right? A spinning mass is going to have a torque. Everything's going to have a torque applied to it, and a sufficiently precise instrument will be able to detect it and give you a meaningful readout from that. The question's still on the table, which might be a reversal burden of proof, but if you answered it, you would be able to say, I've got a valid alternative. And that, I think, is something to have a valid alternative. I get why it looks like the rotation of the Earth, but here's the valid alternative. And I haven't heard one except for mumblings of ether.
Spheroid Pilot says there's a link to a patent for how a gyro compass operates.
Yeah, Sperry, I think, got the first patent for it in 1912, I think it was.
There's a 1913 reference there.
The GPS didn't work that well in 1912, did it?
No, the Russians were...
Was not very... It wasn't very reliable. Let's just say that.
And I suspect... and here we go, Albert Einstein's expert opinions on the Sperry versus Anschutz gyro compass. Elmer Sperry. But here's the thing, you'd be able to invalidate the patent. If they say, I'm using this device to detect the rotation of Earth and find north-south, and you say, well, it's not actually detecting the rotation of Earth, bang, destroyed their patent. You could start producing these tomorrow and make a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the patent was 1908. Military use 1911. Commercial use 1913.
Nice. Hey, Eggshells, how do you think, wouldn't you just need to go to the patent office and say, the Earth is measurably flat and stationary, this patent is invalid, and they would have to say, sure, strike it out.
If I was legitimately a flat earther, what I would do is go to the gyro rather than gyro compass, or both, lump them in together, and find every gyroscope that claims an accuracy of greater than 15 degrees an hour. And then I would say the Earth is stationary and these all think they're falling sideways. So either I would walk out of there having won a lawsuit against every gyroscope manufacturer in history for false advertising, or I would have found out that the Earth is rotating. I would have to come to one of two conclusions, because all of the gyroscopes that are capable of detecting a eastward 15 degree per hour rotation do, and none of them don't, and all of them claim they should. So if we're not rotating, then they're all getting it wrong, and profit, right? Step 3.
Either way, you win, mate.
Exactly.
You win either way.
Giant piles of cash, and you're proven right, or you get to work out that you've been laboring under a delusion of the flat Earth for so long. Here we go. I think I've found the...
Peter, you're right. A friend of mine's a patent attorney. He talks about people trying to patent like perpetual motion machines all the time. It has to actually be able to be able to work, right? So there you go.
Yes.
Do you have to show that it works? I thought you could patent an idea before you'd got it.
No. So I've listened to a physicist who says part of his job, a Polish one, working at a government university, part of his job is that he has to review certain applications that they send to him from the office, and he has to tell them if this idea is feasible or not. And the number one applications he reviews are for, guess what, free energy and perpetual motion.
I bet.
Yeah, there's only two things that you can patent: a mechanism or a methodology.
Right.
Yeah, but it has to be. I have a few patents myself, so you don't have to implement it, but you have to show that it could be implemented.
You have to describe a potential implementation. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but it cannot be ridiculous. So it has to be feasible, at least appear. It might not be practical to build eventually, or there might be super expensive, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it has to be it cannot be completely dreamt up.
Right. Yeah, I've got a few myself. So yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, I think we're done here. The Earth rotates.
The Earth rotates because...
Nicely done, Eggshells.
Thank you.
But it still could be flat, technically speaking.
It could be flat and rotating, yeah. That does invoke some pretty serious problems, but not ones we can't... They're not insurmountable problems. But yeah, certainly kicked a big hole in the old non-rotating stationary Earth.
I also say this for the benefit of a certain niche group of flat earthers, but not all flat earthers. You can have your rotating globe in space and still have your creator. I'm just going to throw that out there. They are mutually mutually exclusive concepts.
I'm one of those. I have my creator, and I have a Big Bang universe.
Right. Catholic Church Catholics are Christians, or maybe not, but the Catholic Church is perfectly fine with that.